We do bands, we do DJs, we do national acts, we do speed painters, character artists. We do the craziest things. If you think it, we've got it. And if we don't have it, we'll find it. We will not disappoint. That is our promise and commitment to everyone. And have a Breezin day. Oh, good morning, good afternoon. This is a new one for us to do it in the afternoon, and we're really excited about that. Hi, this is Cindy Dervich, the owner and CEO of Breezin Entertainment, and today I'm joined by my executive team, Michael Dervich and Jesse Wilcox. Today's guest I'm super excited to have on. She is the founder of Working Women of Florida, the largest women's networking group in the state. Has 800 members, maybe more, and 35,000 social media fans. Our guest launched Working Women of Tampa Bay after leading a successful career in TV and news. She credits her 12 years of multimedia experience for her ability to create dynamic, relevant programming. Since its 2009 launch, she has produced more than 2,500 events in the Tampa Bay and Central Florida area. Many include educational workshops designed to help women follow their dreams of owning their own business. In 2016, she launched Working Women Foundation, a 510c3 nonprofit whose mission is to provide mentoring and resources to female entrepreneurs and executives. In the past 3 years, the organization has presented more than 20 women-owned businesses with more than $15,000 in seed money to help them grow. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce Jessica. And I feel like she's a friend of mine and has mentored me throughout the years. And thank you for coming, Jessica.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yay! Yeah, very exciting. And I have had the honor of, gosh, I'm not quite sure how long we've known each other, but
I would say almost 10 years.
About 10 years. And I've called on her for references and for mentoring and for some networking relations, and she has always come. I don't even know how you do it. You stay on top of your emails, you respond texting like immediately. I know I can always count on you, and I think that is what the majority of your base of 800 members, is that correct? 800?
Yeah, that's right around the right amount of, about 800 members.
And it gives me great pleasure. I refer quite a few women to you that are starting, not only entrepreneurs, but young women getting in the workforce to get all the programs and follow you. But today, Jesse is excited to interview and get to know you a little bit more on a personal basis. And why don't you take it away from here?
Yeah, definitely. And I love when you can put recommendations for things, whatever it is you're looking for. Anytime I put stuff on Facebook, you're one of the first to respond and give recommendations. And I think 9 times out of 10, I use your recommendations, and it's never disappointed. So you're such an amazing referral source for all the different women in Tampa Bay. And I know I've used your recommendations a lot. Just I don't know how you keep up with everybody's Facebook posts.
But I know whoever all your members
everybody
are
is, but you always respond to my posts when I need something, and I really appreciate that. But I wanted to get to know you a little bit more because I know your involvement in Working Women Tampa Bay, but I don't really know Jessica Rivelli, the person, how you got started, where you're from. So kind of start me from the beginning of kind of like where you grew up, where you're from, and your path to turning into Working Women Tampa Bay.
Yeah, so I was born in Rhode Island, but pretty much grew up here in the Tampa Bay area, up in Pasco County, and always wanted to be a journalist. And so I actually did early admission to go to Elon, which is in North Carolina, to study broadcast journalism, and had the serendipitous opportunity to start my TV career early. At 19, so I was able to start in TV while I was still working, or while I was still getting my college degree.
Baby.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked out in my favor because, and I'm sure you know this because, the office environment is usually everybody takes care of like the youngest one, and so there's a couple of years that I worked at WFMY, which is the CBS affiliate in Greensboro, North Carolina. I got a lot of mentoring. Everybody took really good care of me. They called me Little Jess. And so, I was so blessed and so lucky to have just the folks that I had around me from like 19 to 21 when I worked at that particular station. And so I graduated college in 3 years instead of 4.
Overachiever.
And,
Not surprising at all.
and also because I'm thrifty and wanted to save a year's worth of private college, in education tuition, and so I graduated in 2002 with a double in broadcast and print journalism, just in case, but I had already spent 2 years in TV in Greensboro, and so my next stop was WPTV, which is the NBC affiliate in West Palm, which was fun and a great place to be when you're in your early 20s, but that market it's just like Greensboro is a smaller market. And so I was really lucky, not even like 2 years later, to be able to transfer home to Tampa and start working at WFTS, which is the ABC affiliate.
Really?
So I that was halfway through my career, did a couple years there, and then my mentor and the person who hired me in Greensboro actually moved to Tampa and stole me away from the competition. And so I moved from ABC to CBS, Channel 10, WTSP, and then spent my last 5 years in television at that station. So 4 TV stations in 10 years. So I always say I had a life, like an entire career / life in television before I started working women. It really feels like an entire lifetime. Yes,
ago.
like I feel like I can kind of put a bow on that and be like, okay, I spent 10 years and I retired. That's how I use it, because after 10 years in TV, you feel like you've retired.
What did you do for the stations? Were you actually on
air?
So pretty much my entire career was a television news producer. That's the person who's behind the scenes, making sure the show comes together, choosing what stories go in what order, which anchors read what, which reporters are going to go out and cover which stories. And so they're kind of the person that's kind of the chef, like putting the meal together and everybody's ingredients kind of come together to make a show. For a while, when I was at 10, I got to do a show called Life Around the Bay, which was a feature show. And that was a ton of fun, where it was, beauty and, the zoo would come on, Busch Gardens would come on, food segments. And so that show ended. And that was when they started doing, right now, I think the show's called Great Day Tampa Bay, but they started to do a morning show, and so they phased out Life Around the Bay, and I went back to what they consider traditional news, which is, what I call, blood and guts kind of news. and then that's when I lost my passion for it, and I was like, you know what, this isn't, yes, I went to college for it and had this great career, but I felt like I was wanting something. I was lacking some sort of fulfillment. And so that's when I started looking for networking opportunities. And I was like, there's got to be just something for women that's, you can go have a drink after work, maybe there's activities. And I searched the Bay Area for a good 18 months, was about the discovery phase, I call it, or investigative phase, and I couldn't find anything like Working Women. And then I got some wild, crazy idea that I'd be the one to start it, and that was October of 2008. And then a month later, we threw our very first event, which was at Casatina's, which was a women-owned business in Dunedin, which I think just celebrated their 30th anniversary. She was like, I'll host your very first one, and the rest is kind of history. We had a sold-out crowd in November of 2008, and we've pretty much had sold-out events every month now for 10 straight years. It was like I set myself on a path, and it just laid out like the yellow brick road in front of me. It was amazing how it all just went right after another. It fell into place. Yeah, it was
meant to be
amazing. I don't know if I would have ever imagined this
if
life.
you had thought about it, you probably you would have never happened.
Right. That's what entrepreneurship takes. It takes a little naivety and a little
trial
bit
and error.
Yeah, right. Because you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
A lot of trial and a lot of error before you can figure it out.
I remember when someone says, did you do a business plan? I said, if I had done a business plan, I would have never done this.
Exactly.
Later, ever. You just do it.
Yeah, you do. If you're passionate about it, you should just do it.
For sure. And I love, I don't know how you really do it. Jesse would probably be able to would like to hear this too. Like, I know that you're starting chapters in other areas now, correct?
Yeah, we've tried that over the last couple of years. I will say it is difficult to reproduce what we've done in Tampa Bay, and I think that's
no Jessica Rivelli there.
Well, thank you, but I also think it's a testament to this community. I think Tampa Bay is so friendly and supportive, and there's such an intimacy here. Even though, I mean, we are, routinely somewhere between the 12th and the 14th largest TV market in the country, there is that kind of like hometown USA feel to Tampa Bay, especially since we're made up of a bunch of small little communities and then a couple of bigger cities. And so I do think that there's no place like in America like Tampa Bay, and I think that it was the perfect incubator. So yes, we've tried to kind of recreate Working Women in Dallas and Orlando and Colorado and different places, but it's like it needs a little bit of magic, and I feel like the Tampa Bay is part of the magic of it.
Yeah, I always said Tampa Bay reminds me of like a really large small town. Like it's like
exactly.
That's what I love about the area. And it's cool because I know with Working Women, your events are kind of community based. So you'll have a Largo event. I just went last week to the Carrollwood Coffee Connection.
Okay, cool.
Then there's the South Tampa. I mean, you guys are everywhere. So whether you're a business owner in Carrollwood or in South Tampa or in Dunedin, you know everyone can kind of find their group and their niche, and I love that. There's so many opportunities in different communities within the Tampa Bay area that we have to network.
And you recruit leaders, right? Is that something you're
doing?
So you have so many events.
Yeah, and that's such important to the growth of Working Women, right? There was no way that I could do. We sometimes do 20 events a month, so there's no way that I can be at 20 events. No matter, and a lot of times they're at the same time, and in different places.
Do Clearwater or St. Pete.
Right. So I have a team of ambassadors now that help, and some of them have been with me, like Jen McDonald, who who's also very involved in the South Tampa Chamber.
One of the first
So she's my my Tampa ambassador, Tampa Coffee ambassador. Brandy Morris it has been my longest running ambassador. She runs the St. Pete Coffee. I think she's been with me for like 7 or 8 years.
I'm going to become
so it's very important.
In 2 years.
Okay, there you go. Mark your calendars. But it takes a tribe, right? That's what Working Women is all about, is not only does it take a tribe to basically run the organization, but it definitely takes a tribe to make it valuable and to make it what it is. And, the accolades that we get and the awards and the buzz around our organization comes because we have such amazing women within the group that, as you mentioned, Jessie, they're supportive, they're resourceful, they want to share referrals. And if it wasn't for that great energy, I don't know if we would have been as successful.
And I think that you offer something for all women. And she does have men that come occasionally.
There's men coming to the dinner, the anniversary dinner. So there you go.
Dinner. But I feel like there's if coffees work better for somebody in the morning, you offer that. You have luncheons, and then you have after hours, and then you have wine and cheese. So something for that can work into just about any woman's or entrepreneur's schedule. She can schedule something around that.
Yeah, and I'm always amazed when I go on the calendar when,
so many.
Especially when I know it's a week we don't have a lot going on internally in the office, and I know I can go out and about. The first thing I look at is the Working Women calendar, like what can we, and I'm always impressed by just how many opportunities there are in different events, and like she said, it's morning, noon, night, evening, and it's really cool.
And the other thing that's so cool about it is whether you want to go out for networking, but you always have a wonderful education piece to it, or learning something that's really either giving back to the community or I leave often. I go to a lot of your social media because I think that everybody has a take on social media when you do your social media pieces, or just so many wonderful things.
I think that you've kind of gone over what I think are like the tenets of our organization, which are affordability. We have not raised our membership rates in years, which is $120 for a year. Accessibility, that comes from making sure that there's events going on at all different day parts at all different parts of Tampa Bay, so that there isn't women that are saying, well, I live here and I can't access it because of I work 9 to 5. So we really do try to sprinkle different day parts to the calendar. And then education, I think it's funny. I was saying it's like the Goldilocks syndrome. I was looking and I couldn't find it, and so the affordability and the accessibility were so important as far as what I was looking for. But then the education piece, there's just not as many workshops out there for women business owners, and really just business owners in general. I mean, you've got some great resources with, SCORE and the SBDC, but a lot of them are kind of business basic courses, and like we need soft skills like leadership. One of the most popular things we've done recently are LinkedIn classes, and so the education really is a very important piece of what we do, and I don't think we would be who we are without it. And so we make sure that we have at least usually 4 to 5 classes to choose from on a monthly basis.
It really is fabulous. Really, very. I enjoy going to them, because if it's not that I want to network, we're in such a social industry, but I always come back with something. The best one was Lisa Unger.
Oh yeah,
I'm buying all her books.
Well, her new book comes out in October.
September 17th.
September, you're right. September.
I've already pre-ordered it, Audible, so I can listen to it in Greece on the flight home.
Oh yeah,
it's a 9-hour flight. I might finish the book.
I think we get a lot of podcasting.
There you go. Right? I think that touches on something else that is really important to what we do, which is we provide women a platform to showcase their talents. And so there's so many amazing women like Lisa Unger, who is a New York Times best-selling author, who is in St. Pete, but because she's working on books, right? And the chances of her being out in the networking world or being covered by the different news, whether magazine or television, are kind of rare, because she's actually she's working, right?
Yeah.
So she's not out there constantly promoting herself. And so that's where Working Women steps in, is with all of these events and all these amazing women in Tampa Bay, we can use these as platforms to showcase really cool women, whether that's someone like Lisa, who's a best-selling author, or someone who is Rita Lohman with Pilot Bank, who's president of Pilot Bank, who's the previous chair of the Florida Bankers Association. So I think that that's another important piece to what we do, is we want to make sure that we're using our platform to showcase professional and executive and entrepreneurial women in Tampa Bay and what they're doing, and we can all learn from each other too. So in the case of one of the more popular events we're doing right now is Rena Romano is doing has been doing workshop series called Rock Your Next Talk, because women want to talk, they want to be out there presenting more and getting the word out about what they do. And so we're able to utilize a member in our organization that is has done TED Talks and has been on Oprah, and that we're utilizing her as a resource.
Coming up recently.
Yep, we have another one coming up in September and October.
Yeah.
So, because the first one sold out in like 48 hours.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to try to get to the
These are
October
all
one.
really important pieces of what we do.
It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I know you do a couple of larger events a year, so tell us a little bit more about the different larger kind of conferences that you guys offer.
But first, I'd like to interject congratulations on your 10-year anniversary.
Thank you.
It's a big deal. Lots of events going on around that for the year. I think you're kind of strategically putting it out, right?
Yeah. So we celebrated our 10th anniversary on June 1st, and we have a big dinner coming up September 5th that is in conjunction with our conference, as Jesse mentioned. So this will be our 7th annual conference, and the dinner is 400 women we're expecting for dinner, and all that money is earmarked to go to the foundation, which you mentioned, Cindy, in the very beginning when you were introing me, is that 3.5 years ago we spun off a nonprofit arm because we wanted to give back. We've been so blessed financially, and our members have been so blessed they've been blessed financially by meeting each other and doing business, that there's been a lot of business done within Working Women. What can we do to give back? So we chose to start our own nonprofit that's very specific, and its main goal is to help other women start small businesses. So we've actually given away $25,000 to 35 women over the last 3.5 years, and our goal for this dinner is to raise another $10,000 that would be able to seed, somewhere between another 10 and 20 women, because we give about $500 to $1,000.
Actually, at the networking event I went to last week, Decca Lash gave a nice check to the foundation, and it was pretty cool. They had that big check that he presented. of a donation that was really generous. So,
and it's, they came to us and asked, what can we do? And I think that goes to the spirit of working of women in Tampa Bay, right? Professional women small businesses. They want to give back. So Deco Ash and Carol Wood, as you mentioned, came to us and said, what can we do? And I said, well, we have a seed money fund, and this is what the money goes to. And they were gracious enough to give us $200. And, I think what's also special is we are all about every little bit counts. So we've raised, even though we've given away $25,000, we've probably raised more like $35,000 over the last 3.5 years. So much of that is $5, $10, $20, $200 in the case of Deco.
I love that. It's kind of like pay forward or
it's at the heart of what grassroots crowdfunding is. So what we are doing is, because we have such a large organization, 750 plus members just here in the Tampa Bay area, we are able to crowdfund that way, and just if everyone gives $10, well, that's $7,500 right there.
Right.
So I think that's why I love that piece of it, is that when we give a $500 or $1,000 check to a up and coming small business owner, it could be dozens or maybe even 100 women that have contributed. I mean, that's such a cool thing, and it's not like we're gonna pass on a $500 or $1,000 or a $10,000 check, but just knowing that most of the money that comes in is when raffles, tote bags, bracelets, we make it easy on our members to give back in small ways, but together looks as in a big way.
Now, let me ask you this: if you are, especially for listeners who maybe are women who are about to start a business, how would they go about finding out how to become a recipient of that foundation money?
So if you just go to workingwomenfoundation.org and you click, there's actually a seed money application. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. It's very easy. We usually do rounds like every 2 months. We give some more checks away. So the application is open basically 365 days a year. And we're really looking for women small businesses that are at the phase in their business where $500 to $1,000 is going to make a big difference. So previous women that we have seeded, we had a woman who makes the most delicious hummus. She was at a point in her small business where she was having problems getting wholesale accounts because she didn't have a shelf life study on the hummus. And so when she would go to a grocer, they would be like, well, I can't keep this on the shelf longer than a week. I don't know if this is going to benefit me. And so once we were able to get her that shelf life study, it confirmed what she knew all along, which was that it was 2 weeks or above.
Right. It made sense for the grocer now.
So now the grocer's like, okay, well, now I get 2 weeks of shelf life out of this product. And because I think, in that situation, grocers are afraid that they're going to be throwing away a lot of extra product.
Yeah.
So, so it's been a lot of women like that. And they've really been able to take that money and do something extra special with it, and especially graphic design, marketing. I think a lot of small businesses jump in. They don't realize
how much is involved.
Even for getting business cards made,
right? Business cards, logos, stand-up banners, websites,
in the beginning,
brochures.
$500 to $1,000 goes a huge long way.
We picked that number because $1,000 is what I started with. So so that first $1,000 is what I spent on building out our website. And from that point forward, everything else, the money kind of paid for my expenses as it came in. But my original, we'll say startup cash was that $1,000. And it was hugely impactful for me. And that's why we chose to make that what we normally give away.
Do you find these women come back and pay it forward?
Oh yeah, so this dinner has been an awesome opportunity to be able to see how far that these small businesses have come, and then like you said, give them a chance to give back. So one of our very first seed money recipients from 2016, Serena Correa. She has a it's like a crafting business, and she does like tutorials on how to take like chalk paint and like refurnish furniture and stuff like that. Really cool. And so she was one of our very first recipients, and she bought an entire table of tickets for the dinner because that was her way of wanting to give back. And she's bringing some women with her that she thinks are great candidates for the seed money. Aww. So it'll be a great way for them to kind of see what we do as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've had women already who've only been, it's only been a year since they've been seeded, and they're already giving back to like the next generation of seed money recipients. Mm-hmm. So Michelle Turpo, who runs Social Live Marketing, we gifted her an entire website. And then, I know, it was amazing. And that was with the help of Devaney, who is our website administrator, gave her a very special price, and then we paid for that website. So she got an entire website from the foundation. And then this year, she gifted Atlas Chiropractic $500 in in-kind marketing services. Nice. So she's already done her give back. And that was only a year later. Yeah. So it's fun to kind of see it come full circle,
And I love because it's like you said, it's small but it's mighty.
Yeah.
It's small but it's mighty, and it just changes people's lives. It's a beautiful thing.
You know what I hear a lot is that it's not just the money, but that somebody believes in what they're doing.
That camaraderie.
I would not have guessed that, but that's what most of the seed money recipients say to us. Is like,
somebody believes in them.
Right. Like you believe enough.
We feel you're worthy enough that you're going to do something with this business.
Yeah, it's a confirmation of what they're doing. So one of the women who has a cleaning company, she was expanding from 1 to 2 people, and she needed an entire new set of cleaning supplies and marketing t-shirts, everything to kind of go from like a one-man band to actually like a growing business. And so that was what she said to me. She said, she's like, I'm crying because.
What company was that one?
I'm trying to think of what the name is. Oh, Castle Cleaning Company. Nice. Cassel. It was actually her dad had a company similar, and so she branded her company in honor of her father. But she said, just the money is great, but just knowing that you believe that I am worthy. She said that to me has made all the difference, and she teared up on the phone, and so it's like,
you're like, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And because it is a labor of love. There's no every single dollar that comes in goes right back out. We don't have we don't have paid staff. I mean, it really is.
That was my next question is, do you have any full-time employees, or you just kind of rely on volunteers?
In the case of the foundation, no full-time employees. In the case of working women, I'm its full-time employee, but I use a lot of our women.
Full-time. There was another.
I'm an overtime employee.
For overtime.
Yes, I'm an overtime employee. But I utilize so many women in our organization to do the things that I can't do. So graphic design, some of my social media. I definitely don't do anything related to accounting or that was the very first thing I gave away when I started 10 years ago was all of my financials. I never do, except for writing checks, because I still very much do that. But as far as like my accounting and my bookkeeping and everything, so I am a great example of a service-based entrepreneur who's using an independent contracting model to run, what is a large-scale operation, and then all those women are women that are members of our group. So I'm able to give thousands and thousands of dollars worth of business right back here in Tampa Bay, and right back to our members. And so
we have worked many times together on events and
showcasing
and collaborating and whatever it might need to get the job done for
I've had a lot of pink lights over the years, thanks to Cindy and Breezin, and I've had some DJs, awesome DJs.
I think we have one in the pipeline for you.
We need to get it. And I'm getting married, so eventually I'm going to need a DJ too.
That's exciting.
I will be my own DJ. But it's great, that feeling that you're that I call it like keeping it in the family, and you're able to give business and get business and showcase each other and collaborate, and it's just such a beautiful thing.
Well, and our economy, local especially, relies on the small businesses to do well. So you're just helping create the better economy in the Tampa Bay area with helping all the small businesses continue to thrive.
And I feel like that could be said over and over and over again, is that I am so passionate about the fact that small business is the pulse of Tampa Bay, and it's fantastic that we're recruiting tech, and there's all this great news about like IT companies coming to town, and I mean really between the mayors on both sides and the downtown partnerships and all these, it's great that we're bringing in these larger businesses and these tech businesses, but I still believe for the foreseeable future, that small business is what runs this area, and we need to give them resources. We need to promote them. I'd like to see more promotion of small business in our business magazines, and the journals and newspapers and television, because I feel like sometimes everybody takes our small business community for granted. And I really feel like without it, I don't think Tampa would be what it is. And so I'm like, I feel like that's like my soapbox, is that it's, I want more and more about promoting how small businesses are truly impacting.
And we had Jessica be a contributing writer. Was it the first edition? Or
First edition.
First edition of promoting small businesses and her story. So it took us a while to, we just started the podcast, and you were one of the first people we really wanted to have on it. So
I'm grateful.
Tried a few times to schedule you. And this is one busy woman, and I am so proud to have you here. But tell us, today alone, I think you've got two interviews.
I've got a Fox 13 interview later today, and then later in the week I've got a Channel 10 interview, and then a radio interview.
And is this all in regards to the 10 years?
Yeah, celebrating 10 years and promoting the conference and promoting the dinner. The dinner highlights 10 women that were instrumental in helping grow the organization over the last 10 years. That was one more way that we wanted to showcase and really honor, because I really feel like, yes, I've kind of been the Sherpa of this project for the last 10 years, but without the tribe, as I mentioned earlier, there would be no Working Women of Tampa Bay, and so we chose to honor 10 women who were really instrumental in growing it over the last 10 years. And so part of what I feel like the important piece is about doing media is to get the word out specifically about these 10 women as well. So we've done some articles in local magazines and stuff like that too, to highlight them. So just trying to celebrate. And as small business owners, I feel like it's important that we don't let these milestones get away from us, like that without recognition, and honoring them both like from an inner reflection, but also from, because it is, we all know the statistics about businesses that close before 5 years, or actually in the first 2 years, and then the 5-year mark, and so it's important that we celebrate small businesses when they reach milestones.
I agree with you, and I also love how you collaborated with the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce, doing I think you do that quarterly.
Yeah, with women's lunches quarterly. Yes.
Yeah, and I always have a fabulous speaker or a local celebrity come to speak to the group.
Yeah, Cindy always comes back from those lunches like so energized and inspired and buying all the books and all the tapes and everything. She's definitely, she always looks forward to those.
We had Colleen Chapel last month or the month before, and I just feel like she was amazing. She was so candid and honest.
She had all those troubles, and you just don't know, right? We really don't know.
It's important for women. Especially like someone like you, Cindy. You're of a certain caliber. You're a veteran woman in our industry, in our market, and it's important for the women who are like at that iconic stage, like Colleen and like you, to be able to be honest, vulnerable, open and honest about, this is what business life is really like. And in the case of Colleen, she had some health challenges, and she had, some issues, her partner had passed away, or her business partner had passed away over the last 10 years. And so, it's important for us to highlight that business isn't easy, and that life isn't easy, and that it takes like grit and determination and strength, and so Colleen, Colleen's a great resilience. Colleen is a really great, Colleen's a really great example. But as far as the chamber goes, I think that our partnership with Kelly at the South Tampa Chamber is a great example of just how special Tampa is that there's so much collaboration that goes on, not just between working women and the chamber, but between the other chambers, like all the chambers seem to be
very torn. Who do I register with?
I'm sure we're equally happy with either way you go, but I just, once again, I think it comes back to Tampa Bay is a very special place, and there's a sense of, I think the term is cooperation instead of and because at the end of the day, there's plenty of fish in the sea or clients in Tampa Bay. The abundance model.
That's what I tell them. There's just so much out there. We never, we've always embraced competition and tried to be friendly, and it is just really amazing how many people do not want to play in the sandbox together in some industries. So.
I mean, like our famous thing is haters are just gonna hate no matter what. You're gonna have haters. You're gonna have people that.
And I said our job is just to embrace everybody and cheer on their goodness, and good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, it's a great attitude to have, and it's you will find that you end up attracting more when you're out there giving more, and so it's part of a philosophy of that and culture of a pay it forward, but Tampa Bay, even though we described it as kind of a big small city or a big small town, there's a ton of business that gets done in our area and a ton of money that flows in and out. And so, no, I don't think at this point anyone should feel competitive. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, I don't feel like we're that saturated in this market yet, from a business perspective, to, have our nails out, so to speak.
Well, it's funny. I don't know why, Jessica. I always thought you were already married.
Well, we've been together for 15 years.
I know.
So there you go.
What made the decision to finally just get married?
He's so sweet. My fiance Mike, we've been together for 15 years, and he just decided that he wanted to make sure that I knew that this was forever. It was more of like a, like a sentiment than like an actual so. It was very sweet. He picked out the ring all by himself.
And he did a great job.
He did a great job.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so, it's, we've been through, any relationship, right, that's lasted 15 years has been through a lot, especially like personally as you grow, family members pass away and all these different things. And he's really been my rock. And I have to say, he was very instrumental in getting me started with Working Women because I had a broadcast journalism degree. I took like one economic class in college, and I think it was taught by PowerPoint, so I learned like nothing. And I just squeezed it in as one of my college requirements. So I didn't have any business background when I started Working Women, and he has he's a CPA, has an accounting degree, ran Domino's Pizzas when he was in his 20s, so he had a pretty strong business background. And he gave me a ton of advice in the first year. Now he tries to give me advice, and I'm like, whoa!
Right. Like, I know what I'm doing.
But he helped a lot.
It's awesome to know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah.
You said that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Accounting's not my thing.
Yep. He used to do my taxes actually, like the first couple of years, and like that was like a huge fight. And I was like, why is the government taking all my money? And he's like, because that's what happens. And so I quickly outsourced that as well. But no, he was really instrumental in giving me some business basics. And then, like you said, I surrounded myself with really good people. So Teresa Turner, who's my tax accountant and my does all my bookkeeping and stuff like that. Now she's taken over the burden from Mike, and that's been really helpful.
Man, Mike.
He is, yes, and I'm lucky too. But it goes to show you need a really strong support system around you when you start. And sometimes that's your friends and family. Sometimes it's other women. Sometimes it's it just kind of depends.
I go around with my children, and when I had opportunities in the business. So it's wonderful. And and a strong spouse. I mean, that's how I started as well. My husband was a big supporter. He said, I was very fortunate. He said, you can quit your job, you have 2 years. And I was like, no. Yeah, no, that was amazing because that was a big.
You're giving up another income, full-time income for 2 years.
It was good support.
Because he believed in you.
Yeah, he believed in me.
Yeah. And so often, you see women who don't have that support system, and you can almost tell in their body language when they're at events because there's that little bit of that they're almost too hungry for business because they're probably worried about like where their next revenue is coming in.
Yes.
And so to know that you have, that's why I always suggest women, I call it to do the side hustle. So I still stayed in TV for another 18 months after I did our very first event at Casatina's, and I saved all the money. I basically, any money that I made plus anything that I could possibly save from my full-time paycheck, I put away, and so that wouldn't happen to me, so that when I left television in April of 2010, I didn't have that deer in the headlights kind of
look when you go out.
Right,
because I was an income.
Yeah, and so I highly stress that if you don't have a supportive spouse or a second income like that, I'm all about women jumping and following their dreams, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have,
and you have to
like that safety net.
It takes 2 jobs, 3 jobs to make it happen.
Oh yeah.
But I do feel like any of the networking things or educational programs that I've come to, you have created a culture there that everybody is welcoming. I have not found clickiness in your organization, which is huge. There are a lot of groups that are very clicky. That we've attended before, and it's hard sometimes to break in if you're trying a new group and want to be welcoming. So kudos for that. I think there's people can just be kind to each other. It's really nice.
I think part of that is because we pretty much 99% of our events are always open to the public, so there's just a non-member fee. I think that really helps make sure that there's not that clickiness that you described, because at almost every event, there's somewhere between 30 and 50% of non-members in the room. So there's not that, like the same group of women meeting once a week, every week for 52 weeks. I mean, there's a freshness to what we do. And I think that helps combat any chance of clickiness.
Yeah.
But I think we're welcoming
very
too.
welcoming.
Yeah.
I also think that you could add a dimension to it, because I think these 30 and 40 women that come to your events that are getting all this great knowledge, I don't ever hear you doing anything just to say, if this is really benefiting you in any way, can you check out the site and consider becoming a member?
Yeah, we don't. We have a no recruitment kind of philosophy. We feel like if women are called to become a member because they see value in it, they will. So that's kind of
But I sometimes feel like people don't know that you could be
that's some good advice.
That it could be a member. Honestly, I really don't. Because you offer so many, and even your non-member pricing is so reasonable.
Right.
But I think if they just knew that the true benefit of most of it is that it's going to this other your foundation.
Right.
I think it's worth telling the story
Yeah,
a little more often.
we could be a little bit more vocal about it.
Yourself, I don't think it's salesy. I think it's just the truth of what you offer to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Or just you always have the ambassadors at the event, so maybe something like I'm the ambassador. If you want more information, come see me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Something
there
like
you
that
go.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that way they can seek out the information if they want to, but not so much like everyone sign up today, even though they should.
Or we're gonna hunt you down.
Yeah, we're gonna.
that was
box,
right. Oh my
sign
gosh,
up.
because that's the worst
Yeah,
right there.
you do a great job at it, but I think that you deserve to have more.
There you go. Okay, that's our plan.
Yeah.
We're gonna
So, and
with
you will find
Cindy's
a
help.
link at the bottom of this podcast.
But that's what I was
Where
gonna say.
you
How
can-
do we
yeah.
how do we tell our listeners how to find you guys and where you are on social media platforms?
Yeah, so Working Women of Tampa Bay is the website. There's an event calendar and all the events you register right on the website, so super easy. You can also join right on the website. As we mentioned, membership's only $120 a year. And then Facebook, you just type in Working Women of Tampa Bay and you'll find us. We're also on Instagram as Working Women FL. We're on Twitter as Working Women TB. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn too. So I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, and I have found that is actually becoming our number one lead generator is LinkedIn. I have about 10,000 contacts on LinkedIn, and I think more professionals are looking to that for information about professional networking, about professional development. And so we've actually started migrating some of our and attention, right? Like there's only so many of these social media channels that you can really kind of concentrate on.
Right.
And so Facebook was our number one lead generator for like 7 years.
Yeah. Wow.
And so now we're starting to migrate some of our energy over to LinkedIn, because what we found with Facebook is, it's more pay to play with ads and stuff like that, whereas LinkedIn hasn't quite gotten to that. Not yet. But how much, knock on something that it's coming, I know. But until it's mostly free,
it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
That's great. Well, before we wrap it up, just any long-term, short-term, personal or professional goals that you have?
Besides getting married,
right? That's a big one.
So we're just looking to have some fun to celebrate the 10th. So we've only, it's as Cindy mentioned, it's a year-long festivity. So we're 3 months into it, so there'll be some fun stuff coming up. A cool thing that I didn't get to mention was we discovered that the 10,000th guest will be someone at the conference. So I'm not going to say who, because we're going to do something special. But how cool that, after 10 years, our 10,000th guest is
the
coming.
10,000 person who registered for the dinner?
You got, so they registered for either the conference
okay.
or the dinner. We think it's the conference. I've got to go through and
who figured that out?
Oh, we use Wild Apricot, which is this phenomenal website system out of Toronto. And so it's like a data machine. And so sure enough, like one day I logged in and like the 10,000 popped up. And like I wish I had my own balloons pop. But it did it. There was an alert that we had hit 10,000 guests. So that's 10,000 people that have registered for an event.
That sounds like a cool.
Yeah, Wild Apricot. Yeah, so they're a membership-based software. So a lot of chambers use them. Women's organizations, Rotaries. It's about the same age as Working Women. It was new when I tried it out 10 years ago.
Still a baby. I love it.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having us.
Thanks. And we really appreciate it. We wish you so much success and another 10 years of greatness and a life of happiness with Mike. And as we always say, have a breezin' day.